Okay, so just a heads up, I do mispronounce the name of the suspect in question, the person who committed this crime. I mispronounced their name being Schaefer, although their name is probably like more something to the akin of like Schuer or Shower or something like that, or Shower. I don't fucking know. Honestly, I'm not gonna give him that kind of agency. So just bear with me as I mispronounce his name as I read it. I'm not the smartest person in the shed, honestly. It's okay. So, yes, I did censor the ad on the right side over there because not only do I not want to give them any kind of platform, but it's a Viagra commercial, and it's pretty fucking disgusting if you ask me. Anyway, pedophile cop from Sioux Falls goes to prison for 10 years for trying to hook up with a 12-year-old minor. Never mind that 10 years is far too little of a punishment for the crime of trying to hook up with a 12-year-old girl as a police officer when there are black people in prison still for the harmless fucking crime of marijuana possession. By the way, I do understand that Joe Biden did release people from prison for cannabis possession, but that doesn't mean everyone was released from prison for cannabis possession. It was quantifiable, meaning he didn't really release everyone from prison for cannabis possession. According to CNBC News, more than 6,500 individuals with prior convictions for simple marijuana possession were impacted by the pardons, a White House official said, and thousands more through pardons under DC law. And of course, this doesn't account for undocumented immigrants either. But there are still 40,000 people who are behind bars because of the possession of cannabis. So, this police officer is incredibly fucking privileged when we take into account that he's getting 10 years for trying to groom, keyword here, groom, a 12-year-old minor online. Let's read the article. Luke John Schaefer, a former Sioux Falls police officer, was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for attempting to entice a minor while using the internet. That sentence, handed down Thursday morning, is the state's mandatory minimum. According to the plea agreement he signed back in September, the maximum sentence carries to life imprisonment and or a $250,000 fine. Homies, do you not understand what is going on here? This privileged motherfucker is getting off easy with a 10-year sentence compared to the maximum sentence that carries a life imprisonment or $250,000 fine. This means that he's using his class position of political power to be able to get off easy here, especially for a crime that gets a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. If you need a reference for this type of shit, they gave him the easy mode of the video game as opposed to the legendary mode of a video game. Along with his time behind bars, Schaefer, 29, will have 5 years of supervised release, a $100 special assessment and forfeiture of items stated by the court according to the ruling. This dude is 2 years younger than me. He should know better by now than to hang out with a minor. Because I know for a fact that these bootlickers will rush to the comment section. They'll bring the fucking cavalry to the comment section and be like, oh, well, he didn't know better. He was just starting out. Fuck you. Seriously? I'm transgender. What's the rhetoric going around about transgender people right now? That we're all just inherently groomers. Is this not grooming? That what you see in front of your fucking TV screen right now, or your computer screen, or your cell phone screen? Is this not grooming? Is this not an example of grooming? In September, Schaefer agreed to a plea deal to have his charges dismissed if he pleaded guilty to attempted enticement of a minor using the internet. So this minimum sentence was a preemptive tactic, a preemptive slap on the wrist for a state-funded fucking pedophile. Alright everyone, here's the man of the fucking hour. Isn't that guy like super fucking cute? Wouldn't you want to hook up with this fucking guy with his fucking ugly ass mugshot? Do any of you 12-year-old girls want to fucking hook up with this dude? I don't fucking think so. And honestly, neither should they. This is the type of man that bootlickers stand behind unconditionally while waving the Blue Lives Matter flag, shouting 1350 as a fucking slogan, to try to justify the legitimacy of these fucking pedophile, weird-ass, racist fuckwads patrolling the neighborhood, making everyone fucking on edge as fuck in case there's another ticking time bomb in men's heads like this guy going on another shooting of an unarmed suspect, probably a person of color. And now this person right here gets a minimum state sentence, gets a minimum prison sentence of 10 years for enticing a minor on the internet. Predatory behavior for someone who people consider to be the protector of the neighborhood. Lick my boot. Initially, the United States Attorney Office announced charging Schaefer by criminal complaint for attempted production of child pornography and transfer of obscene material to minors. Which basically means that this fucking weird-ass slug boy was sending dick pics to a 12-year-old girl and asking for nudes from a 12-year-old girl in return. The office said that minimum penalty conviction is up to 30 years in federal prison and or $25,000 fine, life of supervised release, and up to $200 to the Federal Crime Victims Fund. What are the defenders of law enforcement gonna say when they come across this video, and or this article for that matter? Are they gonna say something to the effect of, oh, you're just so easily offended, you triggered SJW? No, this guy literally tried to have sexual relations with a fucking minor. Are you serious right now? What compels these fucking people to just turn the other cheek when it's law enforcement doing creepy fucking shit like this? And speaking of being offended, why isn't this fucking pig-ass clown being put on the sex offenders registry list? I mean, I haven't seen that being mentioned at all in this article. Maybe we will come across something like that later in the article, but for the time being, this isn't being mentioned at all here. According to a factual basis statement, Schaefer began chatting with a decoy posing as a 12-year-old girl. Schaefer and the decoy talked on and off for a few weeks through Kick Messenger, involving comments from the former officer of sexual contact he would like to have with the minor. Yo, look at that for a second here. Kick Messenger? Have you ever been asked to go on to Kick Messenger before? I have, and you know what? They're usually by the same fucking creepy-ass predators that just want to get into my pants. And just so you know, Kick is a very explicitly predatory platform for predators to catch underage girls or their victims to get onto, because it separates people from the platform that is probably more supervised than Kick is. It doesn't matter if you're on Instagram, FetLife, Facebook, Snapchat, MySpace, Twitter, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that those sites, even Twitter, unfortunately, so I have to fucking say that, you know, given the current trend of things on the platform and all of that, Kick is far less supervised than those platforms. Okay, maybe not Twitter, actually. Maybe not Twitter. But your mom is not going to know what Kick is. It's going to be a lot harder for your mother or your father or whoever your guardian is to know what Kick is. And it's going to be harder for them to be able to meaningfully address the predatory nature of the platform itself. In an affidavit, Schaefer reportedly sent graphic images of his genitals and graphic descriptions of, quote, how he would have sex, unquote, with the agent posing as a minor. At one point, the undercover agent asked if she could see Schaefer's gun, to which he responded, if I can see you naked. On February 8, 2022, a search warrant was served where law enforcement officers observed bedding, woodwork, and wall art which matched the photos sent through Kick Messenger, according to a criminal complaint. In an interview with FBI special agents, Chauffeur admitted to owning the Kick Messenger account and admitted to using the account to engage in communications with a 12-year-old, including sending and requesting nude photos. In that interview, he also admitted communications began mid-January and continued to February 8th, the complaint said. This next part is really interesting because it really shows how people view police officers, especially police officers who are creepy as pedophiles. In 2018, Chauffeur was one of 3 officers in the Sioux Falls Police Department who received a Medal of Valor award. During an arrest with 2 other officers, a man pulled a gun out of his waistband, pointing it at an officer's leg. The officers were able to get the gun out of the man's hand. Chauffeur was also recognized for a life-saving award in 2019 by the police department, according to an annual report. He had been with the Sioux Falls Police Department since at least 2016, according to an annual report. Mayor Paul Tenkaken said in a statement to the Argus Leader in February 2022 that Chauffeur was no longer employed by the city. Sioux Falls Police Chief John Thumb, what an unfortunate name, said in a police briefing last year, Chauffeur, quote, did not work another shift, unquote, after the allegation came to light. To whom much trust and responsibility is given, the expectations are higher, Thumb said during that briefing. So, to kind of conclude things here with this video and article, and really just this sentencing overall, this comes out around the time when Tennessee police officers are getting fired in large quantities. We're talking at least 5 of its male police officers for having sex with a female police officer on and off the job. Now, look, I'm polyamorous. I'm not really one to judge people for the level of delinquency that they partake in when it comes to sexual activity, as long as the sexual activity is consensual and it's with adults. But it's to say that this scandal is a lot bigger than the one that we just went over right now. And that's because it's with a woman being promiscuous. And, you know, a woman being promiscuous is a lot more scandalous and gets more clicks for the algorithm than, say, a child getting raped by a police officer. Go to Google and look into the blue line of silence, and you'll see very quickly that not only police officers, but defenders of police officers and law enforcement, aka bootlickers, have a long history of trying to save face of the general image of police officers throughout the United States and its history. And I think it's a mixture of this scandal being covered up by the Tennessee scandal, as well as the minimum prison sentencing of attempting to groom a minor. We can conclude that the police system is unjustified in its very existence, and thus the police should be abolished. And then the bootlickers say, what will happen if we abolish the police? How will we stop crime? To that I say, police officers solve 2% of crime, prevent 2% of crime, which means that that's a bad batting average, and this was backed by a study by the University of Utah of Law in a study in 2020. And considering that this comes out at a very fresh time, not too long after the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas, I think that we can conclude that the prison industrial complex, as it currently exists, and as it will exist in the future, is a crock of shit. When it comes to Blue Lives Matter, it's not about protecting the community, it's about protecting their own damn selves. They are a gang. Police officers and their defenders are protecting their own. And although this officer was speaking to a decoy, who knows? Who the fuck knows how many more minors he was talking to before they thought, maybe we should fucking investigate this fucking creep. Which means even in this very scenario, this was not a preventative tactic. This was just a tactic to get a prosecution. It's time to abolish the police. Thank you.